Hello and welcome to another video in this lecture series, and today we will be talking about strings, right? So strings is a data type that is used for any kind of textual data. So in last video we saw about numbers, so in this video we're completely looking at alphabets and strings, right? So strings are basically any kind of textual data like a paragraph or like a sentence, something that you want to display, or something that you want to input, right? So we will understand what strings are, what is the use of strings, and we will explore some properties of strings and some inbuilt functions in strings also, right? So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So I have created this strings.py file, and now I'm going to define a string, right? So string can be defined in three different ways, right? So my sample string would be my variable is equal to, and strings are generally given in quotes, right? So in quotes only there are three different types, so you can give as a single quote. For example, I'm going to give my name, Tyadaran. So this string now contains this value of this particular collection of alphabets, right? So this is a word right now. So we know the difference between a word and a sentence and a paragraph, right? So for computer, everything is just a string. So this is a string, and as like any other variable, I can simply print the string like this, right? So I'm going to run this, and yes, as you can see, I have printed the name. Now this is how you define a variable, that is method 1, using single quotes, right? So method 2 would be sample string, we'll use the same variable name, and now it'll be, oh, I'll change it there itself. I'll change it here. So instead of single quotes, I'm going to be giving double quotes, right? So this is not a big change when it comes to the computer's point of view. Single quotes and double quotes will be taken as the same value. So if you compare those two strings, in a mathematical point of view, they would be the same value for the computer. So when I run this again, I get the same thing. There is not a single change in the output, right? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce this third method. So this is probably something that people might be aware of, and this third method is not used commonly, right? So that is the triple quotes. So I have to give the quotes 3 times. It can either be double quotes 3 times or single quotes 3 times, right? So once I give this and I print, the value will be exactly the same, but this is a little bit different from single and double quotes, right? So if I want to give a new line here, the other one is my name. So let us say I'm giving this in like 2 different lines in the code editor. So now when I run it, I have no issues, right? So with the other one is my name. So as exactly how I've given in the code editor, I'm getting it in the output screen, right? But if I perform the same thing with a double quotes, let's say, yeah, as you can see, I'm already getting an error here inside the code editor. I'll still try to run it so that I'll see what error there is. So as you can see, the error is displayed here, unterminated string literal, which means this particular quote is not getting terminated here. So that is what the code editor is trying to say, because it is ending here. So which means double quotes should be given in a single line, right? So if you go for multiple lines, then triple quotes is the way to go. Or if you want to give double quotes but still you want a new line in the string, means we can use this escape sequence called \n, right? So in programming, we call this an escape sequence. It is something like a shortcut for using, next line or a tab space or something like that. So \n is for the next line, and when I run this, I get this as the output, right? So now if I want to give another line as the if I want to move my string to one other line, so I can use this escape sequence. Or if I want to just directly write the string to the next line, then I'll use the triple quotes. Right, so now you've understood the difference between single, double, and triple. Now let us go to the properties of a string. Right, so our sample string is here, and in how will this string be stored is it will be stored something like each letter will be stored in a particular index. Right, so as we know, what an index is, something that we can use, no, to refer the contents of a book. For example, the front page would be the index, and for example, if I want to know the page now, if I want to know the page number of one particular topic, I can refer that and I can go to that particular page number. So what will string do is it will refer each letter using that only. For example, and one more thing that we need to know is index starts from 0 and not 1. Right, so this index of sample string starts from 0, so v will be at 0, I will be at 1, d will be at 2, and so on. Right, so I'll just give this as a smaller value, Python. Right, so to make it easier, so how do you access this is you type sample string and then open square bracket, close square bracket. Inside the square bracket, you give the index value. Right, so sample string of 0 will be p. Right, so we will print that and we will see how this works. So once I do that and I run the code, I'm getting p. Right, so now you have an understanding of how the string is stored as from the computer's point of view, from the compiler's point of view. Now I will, if I change it to 1, I'm sorry, 1, now this should change to y. Right, so let us check it right now. Yes, I'm getting y. And if I move it to 2, I should be getting t, 3, h, and so on. Right, so this is how the string is stored, and this is called Python indexing, string indexing, where I use the index to get the value of the letter inside the string. So now let us look at some of the operations that we can perform on the string. So the first thing would be concatenation. Right, so inside concatenation, what the basic meaning of concatenation is nothing but combining of two strings. Right, so I would give the string 1, let's say string 1 is young. Right, and string 2 would be rocket. Right, so I want to print the combined, I mean I want to combine these two strings and create a new string. Right, so string 3 is equal to, so this is where I perform the concatenation operation, and concatenation is very simple. It is simply string 1 plus string 2. Right, so this is what exactly concatenation is. So once I do that, I want to print the string 3. So I will give print, I will save this, and I will run this. Yeah, so as you can see, the answer is young rocket. Right, so I will comment this so that we don't see the y. Yeah, so I will run this again, and yes, now the answer is young rocket. Now you might have understood what concatenation basically is. So you combine these two strings and you get this third string. Yes, so we have completed with the first operation. So the next operation would be duplication. So duplication is nothing but I have to duplicate the value of one string into another string. Right, so what I'm going to do is I have the same string 1 is here. I'll define it again, and I have string 2 is here. Now I want my string 2 to be young again. Right, so what I can do is I can give string 1 as it is. Right, so what happens here is the value of string 1 gets copied into value of string into the string 2 and becomes the value of string 2. And now when I print it, sorry, okay, so now when I print it, I will print the string 2 and I will comment this out. Right, so actually I can just take this completely, and yes, string 2 is young again. Right, so I will bring this back, let it stay there, And yes, so duplication is done. Next thing would be printing, right? So we are already aware of that, how to print strings, and we can use print of and the value of string. That is, for example, if I give string 2, I can print the value of string 2, or I can simply print inside print I can give whatever value I want, right? So let us see how this works. And yeah, so I have this young, and then I have hi hello. Yeah, so all this is working. So all this we have understood that what are the functions, I mean what are the operations that you can do with string. So the next thing would be, what are the kinds of um inbuilt functions that string has, right? So these are just operations that we are doing on the string, but string itself has some inbuilt operations that we can use, inbuilt functions that we can use, right? So we'll look at that. So I will comment these out to keep the output clean. And so inside inbuilt functions, so the first thing that we will be seeing is lower, right? So I have a string, let's say caps is equal to hi hello, right? So I have three capital letters here, that is H, I, and H again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this function called lower. So small is equal to caps dot lower. Now I will try to print small. So what this function basically does is it removes the capital letters and replaces them with small letters. So this is pretty simple, straightforward solution. And yes, there is no capital letters here, all are small letters, right? So the next function that we'll be looking at is, the next function is strip, right? So we will assign a, let's say, wrong string. So that will be, I will give some extra spaces here. Hello world, right? So I have a lot of extra space here. So this is where strip comes into play. Now, when I give wrong string dot strip, I should be getting the only the text, and all the extra spaces on the starting and the in the starting and the ending should be removed. So when I print this, I will comment this out. See, okay, there's a spelling mistake. So we'll change that, so that shouldn't be an issue. But as you can see, there is no extra space at the beginning and there is no extra space at the end as well, right? So this is where strip comes into play. And if you want to, let's say I am giving, instead of spaces I'm giving dots, right? So instead of strip, if I give instead of empty space, if I give the dot inside the strip, so now strip will remove all the dots also. Let us run this. Yes, as you can see, the all the dots have been removed and all the spaces also have been removed. So this is the use of strip function. So that's the content for this particular video on strings. See you again in the next video with more content. Thank you for watching. We'll meet in the next video.